Hey everybody, it's Janice with Creating Through Chaos, and today we're going to start this project off using this watering can cutout from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to take some heat and a scraper, and I am going to scrape off all of the lettering. I tried to do it so that I could keep most of the lettering to maybe use on another project, so I just kept applying the heat and peeling them off. And it actually was relatively easy. The top part, not so much. That didn't come off in one piece. It came off in several, which is fine because we're getting rid of that right now. We're going to cut that off. I just took some snips and just cut along the top of it and cut that whole top piece off. This doesn't have to be perfect. It can be messy. You're not going to see this part anyway. So I'm just going to kind of cut right across, trim off the excess to kind of make it a little bit even. And then I'm going to sand that top part down so that it just doesn't have any, stray wood or splinters. And clean up my mess real quick. Once I had that all cut out and I sanded that down a little bit, I'm going to add a coat of Mod Podge all over the top, and I'm going to use this scrapbook paper that I got at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to make sure that I get a good coat of the Mod Podge on there so that the paper sticks well. And once I have that Mod Podge all on there, make sure I got that handle really well because I really wanted it to stick good to that. I'm just going to flip the scrapbook paper over and then lay the watering can right on it. Make sure that it's all pressed down. Once I had it all pressed down, I am going to take an X-Acto knife and use that to cut it out. Figured that was probably easier than trying to do it with scissors, and that way there I can get in all these little nooks and crannies. Once I had the paper all on there, I'm just going to sand off all the excess, and I also wanted to kind of give it a rustic look around the edges. And I'm going to use a nail file to get into those little spots that you can't get with the sanding block. And the nail file works so great for these little places like that. So once I have it all sanded, I am going to take I think these are for embossing. It's like an embossing tool. I'm going to poke out the holes that were in the watering can. I'm just going to push through the paper, make sure that I got them all poked out. And that is it for that. I'm going to set that aside and let it fully dry. Then I'm going to take these shims. These are the long shims from Lowe's or Home Depot. They come in a big pack. I think you get like 20 or so, maybe more. And then I'm going to lay them down in a row. And I'm going to do this with, the big end at the top on one side and then the smaller end. And I'm just going to kind of rotate them back and forth that way. I'm going to make sure that I have enough to fit my watering can and then enough to put 3 shims across the back. So once I had them all laid out, I'm going to take my snips and cut off the excess on these ones that are going to be glued to the back. Make sure that they're the size of the sign. And then I'm going to use a mixture of some Elmer's wood glue and some hot glue to hold those on. So I'm just going to add those both, and I'm going to lay them on, all 3 of them. One at the top, one in the middle, and one at the bottom. Once I have those all in place, I'm going to flip my sign back over and I'm going to use some of my antique wax, and I get this at Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to mix it with some water and make a stain out of it. You can also get the same effect from mixing brown paint with water. That also works. And I'm just going to stain the whole sign. Make sure that I got in all the little crevices and just give it one good coat of this antique wax. Once I had that all on and it was dry, I'm going to take and give it a nice whitewash with some regular white paint. And I just used acrylic paint for this. And I didn't want to cover up all of the background, but I wanted the background to have that white look. So I just kind of went around the whole thing with my white paint. And once I had that all on and it was dry, I'm going to pull my watering can back out and I am going to hot glue that right to the front of the sign. And I'm going to do it somewhat in the middle of the sign. Leave a little bit of room at the bottom and glue that there. And I'm just going to hold it down for a second to make sure that that glue adheres. Next, I'm going to take these sunflowers that I got at, I can't remember if I got these at Walmart or maybe Dollar Tree or maybe a mixture of both. I'm going to cut off the little parts that stick onto the stems. And now I'm going to hot glue them to the top of my watering can. And you can do as many as you want or as few as you want. I just added as many until it looked like it was full. And as you can see, there's two different sunflowers. Some have a little bit of orange in them, and then other ones are just all yellow. So I did the mix of them both because I liked the way they both looked. And then I'm going to add one more on the right. And this is turning out so cute already. I absolutely love this scrapbook paper, and these sunflowers just seem to go really perfect with it. So once I had those all on, I am going to take this bow that I made out of raffia, and I just took raffia and put it in a line together and tied it in a bow. I had some like yellow raffia and plain regular raffia, the natural kind, and I just tied it into a bow, and then I'm going to cut off the excess. And I'm going to put that right underneath the flowers, and look how cute this is. Next, I took two more of the shims, and I cut them to the size of the top and the bottom of the sign, but I also left it so that there was a little bit of room on either side, so I didn't cut it quite to the exact size of the sign. And then I'm just going to put more of that scrapbook paper on each one of these strips. Lay that down, and then I'm going to sand off the excess on those also. And again, just using a sanding block that I got at Dollar Tree. Once those were all sanded and dried, I'm going to attach one to the top and one to the bottom. And as you can see, I just put them in the center, and there's a little bit of room on either side. So I didn't cut it quite the size to the sign. And I thought this was the perfect touch that it needed, because I felt like it was missing something at the top and the bottom. Next, I'm going to flip the sign over, and I'm going to take some twine, and I'm going to staple it to the back of the sign. Figure out how long I wanted my hanger, and then just cut off the excess, and there you go. This project is finished. How stinking cute is this? I absolutely love it. I think it turned out so cute, and I absolutely love sunflowers, and this paper is beautiful. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it inspires you to make one, and as always, don't forget to spread the chaos.